Good evening, everyone. Happy October's Eve. It is the 30th of September, and tomorrow is October 1st, which means the countdown for Halloween has begun. We are 31 days away, and we are in crunch time for costume picking. I finally actually have my costume picked out for once. I haven't gotten all the essentials for the costume, but even just to have an idea in mind and be set on that idea is a huge deal for me, since I go back and forth between costumes all the time because I'm indecisive, and on top of that, Halloween is my favorite holiday and I always want it to be good. In case you haven't heard it 1,000 times, I'm going to tell you one more time. Halloween is my favorite holiday, and in celebration of the month of October and Halloween and all the festivities that are about to commence, I'm going to tell you guys some of my personal ghost stories, some things that I've experienced in the past that might freak you out a little bit if you're easily scared, or might not. And if you guys have ghost stories, I'd love to hear them. You can always add me on Instagram or add me on Twitter and Facebook and share your scary stories with me. I'd love to hear more than just what I've experienced or what the people around me have experienced. I love to hear things that you guys have experienced in different states or countries or wherever you are. But yeah, let's get right to it. I'm going to tell you about this time that I just moved into a townhouse with my mom and my sisters. While we were moving in, we just started not unpacking, but unloading the truck. We are unloading the truck, and the first person that comes up to us is a little kid. He's a young boy, younger than even me at the time. And he comes up and he talks to me and my sisters and my mom. And instead of saying, "Hello, welcome to the neighborhood," first thing he tells us is, "You know, someone died in your house." And me, being easily frightened, kind of freaked me out a little bit. But I still, kind of brushed it off because kids say crazy things. But the next thing out of his mouth kind of made me a little anxious. He pointed to the room that I would be staying in and said, "A man had a heart attack right in that room." And as the days went on, I got more details about this heart attack. Some we don't know whether they're true or not. Stupid rumors happen, stories spread, and stories change. But from what I was told, a man with a weak heart had a heart attack in the room that I would be living in, and I guess his wife wouldn't allow anybody into the house, wouldn't allow anybody to call 911, and when she finally did allow that, the man was gone. Which means the man died under suspicious circumstances. And if you know anything about ghost stories, that's when the activity begins, is once somebody dies under suspicious circumstances. So many things I could tell you about what happened at that house. From the stereo in my mom's car parked outside of our apartment, townhouse, whatever you want to call it, turning on and all the way up and would not turn down, wouldn't let me turn it off, and kept switching stations. It freaked me and my mom out, and I ended up just popping the radio faceplate out and putting it back in. That happened about twice on two separate occasions. So that was something I was kind of startled me, because it happened so suddenly that it got my heart pounding, startled me, and then it freaked me out because I was like, "Oh my gosh, why would the car do that? It's never done that before. We've had this car for a while, and until we moved here, and there's things happening in the house." But that was just what happened when we weren't in the house. What happened while we were in the house is what frightened me a little more. And to this day, it's kind of weird, and I don't know if I would live there again, but I'd love to visit again. But one night, me and my mom were watching a movie, and it was just me and her in the house, and we were laying on the bed, and we were watching a movie, and she had these little Egyptian cats, and they're plastic, so they don't break very easily, but one of them goes flying off her dresser and shatters on the floor. Now, for this plastic cat to shatter like it did, it had to have been pushed off with some force. And it didn't just drop onto the floor because it went across the room a bit. And the other one and nothing else on the dresser moved. There was no wind, no windows open, nothing. And we couldn't recreate that event. We couldn't figure out what had happened. That was another thing that happened in the house that totally kind of set me on edge. Another thing that happened is me and my mom and her significant other at the time and my sisters, two sisters, and my mom's significant other, daughter at the time, significant other at the time's daughter, were all watching a movie, and you guys definitely have heard of it. It's called Dead Silence, the one with the puppets. Beware the stare of Mary Shaw. She had no children, only dolls. And if you see her in your dreams, never ever scream. We're watching that movie, and we hear me and my mom and my sisters, we start laughing at this part that we hear in the movie, and when one of the other ladies, the daughter of my mom's girlfriend speaks up, she said she didn't hear it. What we had heard, and all of us heard it clear as day, was, "Why'd you do that, Jamie?" And we kind of thought it was funny because the way he said it. And then when she said she didn't hear that part of the movie, we rewound it, and we didn't hear it. We rewound it and rewound it and rewound it, and we never heard it. So that was a little creepy, but it didn't like scare me too much. But one day I come back because I had gone out for the weekend. Me and my sisters had gone out for the weekend, and I come home. This was after the incident. After watching the movie, we come home, and my mom tells me this story about how she and her girlfriend were watching this movie, they were just watching movies. That's a big thing we did in our house. We watched scary movies. They were watching a movie, and my mom hears a knock at her bedroom door, and not thinking about anything, she goes, "Okay, what do you want?" And she goes to open the door, and nobody's at the door. And it's in her bedroom that she's sitting in, and she's thinking, it's one of us girls. And she goes and checks the house and realizes that we're all at our friend's house. Nobody's home but her and her girlfriend's sitting right next to her. And to this day, that's not explained either. So that's just a couple of the things that happened in that house, along with not only the car stereo turning way up, but the house stereo that we had turned way up. It didn't switch channels or anything, but it turned way up and wouldn't turn off until we unplugged it. Those are some of the unexplained things that have happened in that apartment complex alone that freaked us out. And it didn't help that I knew that somebody had died in that house, which kind of added to my fright. No harm came to any of us or anything like that, so we just don't know what was going on in that house. If you guys have any explanations of what may have been actually happening, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you think happened. If you have a ghost story of your own, go ahead and leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Other than that, if you guys want to share ghost stories or you guys want to see or hear anything else, leave a comment below or add me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or anything like that. I'll leave the links down below. Thank you guys. Bye. Happy Halloween.